Welcome. How can I help you? What was that? Oh, yes, we spoke on the phone earlier. How are you today? So, you said over the phone that you're looking to, borrow some books. And you mentioned that your favorite genre is fantasy, correct? I'm a big fan of fantasy myself, actually, so I understand where you're coming from. And I believe you also mentioned that you are a big fan of books that have more than one volume. You like series, correct? Okay, great. Well, I already pulled out some books for you, and I picked out 3 different series. So you'll have to let me know if you've read any of them. But you did email me your books that you've read, and I didn't see these on there, so I'm hoping we have some new books for you. Okay, well, I'm going to start out with the classic, which I can't believe wasn't on your list, but the Harry Potter series. I have the first book right here. You can see it's very worn, as it's our oldest copy, and it's been borrowed quite a bit. It's obviously been read the most. It is the first one, so whenever someone wants to start the series, this is the book they go after. No, I know what you're thinking. Isn't this a children's series? And in a sense, it started out as such. And definitely as you read these books, you'll find that in the first couple to the first 3 books, the stories seem a little bit young and childlike, although it doesn't make them any more or any less whimsical and magical. But you'll find that this story, this series, this Harry Potter series, it really followed. It was part of a lot of people's childhood, whether they were 8 years old and picking up this book, or 5 and having it read to them, or whether they were 10, 15, 20, 30, 40. To be honest, it's really ageless, and that's why you find so many Harry Potter fans from the ages of 15 or younger sometimes, to the ages of 60. It's really a book that can be enjoyed by all, and it's an incredible series. And of course there's the movies, which are wonderful as well, but I'm always one of those people that's a bigger fan of the books. And like I was saying, what's wonderful about these books is that the way J.K. Rowling wrote them is that the series kind of ages as her reader ages. So her first book came out, and a lot of her target audience was young children. It's a beautiful, magical story. And then as time went on, it just sort of became so much more, the second book and the third book. By the time you got to the 4th book, it started getting a little bit darker, a little bit more adult. To when you get to the 6th and 7th book, there's a lot of adult themes, because she really grew her writing with her audience. I think that's really special. So like I said, we have the entire series. This is Harry Potter. See, it's got this nice bridge to it, and the Sorcerer's Stone. We also have the second book in the series, Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. We have this original Scholastic art, which I think is really quite nice. It's really fun and sort of young, but still very enjoyable. And this is in slightly better condition, but it still has some wear and tear to it. And it has that wonderful book smell, which I'm a big fan of. Then we have the third one, which is Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. Again, it has that art on it. And we have Harry Potter Potter written right here. And it's sort of raised. You can see it has some texture. And you can also see that her books start to get a little more lengthy as they go on. Then we have Harry Potter, the Goblet of Fire. And this is one of my favorite movies that they made. It's really great. Probably my favorite movie they made was the 7th movie, part 1 and 2. Although my favorite book is the 6th book. And this again is just a really wonderful book. Look how thick it starts to get. Once again, that original scholastic art, and Harry Potter is written on the books. What I really like is this is the 4th book, but it says on the spine, year 4, which I think is kind of cool because it's the 4th book, but it follows him year by year, so it's his 4th year at Hogwarts. Then we have the 5th book, which is a lot of people's favorites, and I quite like it. But it's, see, it says 5th year, it's kind of hard to see. And it's Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix. This is when things really start to get even more dark for Harry. I think the 4th book is really when things start to take a turn. But by the time we get to the 5th book, we're also looking at some darker themes. And as we go up in the books, you can see there's a little less wear and tear on them. Once again, a thicker book. These are all paperbacks, though. And that raised writing once again. Now, my favorite of all of the Harry Potter books. And this is, we have this one in a hardback. It's Harry Potter, and it's still raised, and it still has that art. Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince. Personally, I am a huge fan of Slytherin, and Draco Malfoy is my favorite character, so this book really dwells deep into his character, as well as Snape, who's another favorite character of mine. Look how cool the back looks. Isn't this nice? I just love this book. I love the color of it. I love everything about it, and I think you will too. It's a hardcover, which is quite nice. I like hardcovers because they're a little more sturdy. Of course, soft backs, soft covers, books are nice for traveling because they're a bit lighter and more compact, but especially if I'm going to own a series, it's always nice to have a hardback. So, this is just really wonderful. Just looking through it. Great book. And it does get lengthy, but it's a very easy, quick read. And the last of the series, which is by far many people's favorites, it's definitely my very close second favorite, Year 7, which is kind of funny because Harry's not really at Hogwarts, not to give away any spoilers, but it's Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows. And once again, we have that really fun art. You can see there's Voldemort's hand in the back. And again, it's a hardcover book, which again, I just sort of like, especially if you're going to have the last of the series. Of course, you'll just be borrowing these, but I can give you some recommendations where to buy these books if you are interested after you read them. And you don't have to obviously check out all these books now, but there's quite a bit of dust on it, so I'm just going to drink a little water. It's a little better. I haven't taken these books off the shelves in quite some time. They've gotten a little dusty. Like I was saying, you don't have to check all these out. In fact, you might even reach our checkout limit if you tried to. But we can keep these on hold for you if you're interested, and you can borrow them at your leisure so that you can read them when you like. And again, this is just a really astounding series. If you have the time, I really recommend you looking into reading them. So, let me just show you right here. Great. Okay. Put that aside. So, the next series I'm going to show you, I only have the first books, the first 3 books. The author, Lynn Plowing, she never set out to make a trilogy, or she never had an actual set amount of how many books she was going to write for this particular series. But it just so happened that there was 3 books that she wrote, maybe 10 years ago. And then a couple years ago, she got right back into the series and wrote another set of 3, which I unfortunately do not have with me right now. But if you like the first 3, we can go look into getting those from another library. We just send a request in, and we can get those for you. So, and she actually just released, I believe at the start of April of this month, or last month, she released the final and 7th book of this series. So I have yet to get my hands on it, but I really enjoy this series, and maybe you will too. So, the author's name is Lynn Plowing, and it's the Nightrunner series is the name of the series. And the first book is called Luck in the Shadows, and all the books I have today are in paperback, and they're fairly short. I mean, 460. But if you are a fantasy reader like I am, you'll know that's fairly short for a fantasy book. And it's got decent-sized font, so not too small. And it's quite a quick read. It's very captivating. So you're going to find that as you read it, you're going to just blow right through it. It's really one of those sort of books. And the Nightrunner series, it's about, well, you know what? I'll read the back to you. How's that? I have a sticker back here, which is blocking some of it. Well, I'll try to do my best. When young Alec of Carey is taken prisoner for a crime he didn't commit, he's certain that his life is at an end. The one thing he never expected was his cellmate. Spy, rouge, thief, and noble, Sergil of Rimini. You have to forgive me if I pronounce some of these words wrong. Is many things, none of them predictable. When he offers to take Alec as his apprentice, things may never be the same. Soon, Alex is walking roads, traveling roads he never knew existed, toward a war he never suspected was brewing. Before long, he and Sergil, forgive me, are embroiled in a sinister plot that runs deeper than either can imagine, and that may cost them far more than their lives if they fail. But fortune is as unpredictable as Alec's new mentor, and this time there just might be luck in the shadows, which is the name of the book. So it's really interesting, and I really love the plot. I love the characters that she construes, which is really just the characters and the whole world that she constructs of these different types of people and the war that's brewing and the intrigues and the magic. It's really a great read. And what I really like about this, which you're not going to find out till the 2nd book, which is called Stalking Darkness, is that it's one of the few, or she was one of the first, I guess, fantasy writers to have the main romantic pair be 2 men. So you don't really find that in fantasy of old. Even recently, you don't find a lot of fantasy that has, homosexual pairings or pairings of the same sex. And I really like that about this. And what's great is that the relationship between the two main male characters, it's not forced. It comes really quite naturally. And what's also nice is that this isn't, while, you know, the LGBT community can be really excited about this, and I know that many of my friends enjoy this book for that, and they're very happy it exists. That's not really what the main focus is. The relationship's sort of just a background. The plot is what really drives it forward, and it's not as much focus on the relationship, which is nice because a lot of stories can be all about the romance and the couples, and it takes away from the actual plot, which this book does not. So this is Stalking Darkness, the second, and I'll just read you the back from this one. A master of subterfuge, a rouge thief with a noble air, Sergil of Rimini has taught his young protege, Alec of Kerry, his greatest secrets of the trade. Together they've made their way with thieving jobs, large and small, winning friends and enemies, their lives in constant danger, and yet charmed by an aura of magic, friendship, and trust. But now, as their adopted country prepares for war, Sergil is called away by the ancient wizard Lysander to face the ultimate challenge of loyalties, and entrusted with a deadly knowledge that, if breached, could cost both Sergil and the unwitting Alec their lives. And as Alec learns the shocking truth of his own shadowed heritage, he, Sergil, and a handful of loyal companions are captured into a tumultuous conflict with the ultimate evil, which magic alone may no longer shield them from harm, Stalking Darkness. So, and I really like the cover art, I think it's fun. So, and lastly, the book 3 of the Nightrunner series, Trader's Moon. And once again, I'll just read you the back, and I hope you don't mind if I stutter over some words. I usually just stay here all alone at my desk, and it's, you know, library, so you gotta stay quiet. But I don't get to talk loud or read things aloud that often. So, okay. Master spies Sergil and Alec are no strangers to peril. Their assignments, night running for wizards and nobles, have led them into many deadly situations, but sometimes the greatest danger can lurk beneath a traitor's moon. Wounded heroes of a cataclysmic battle, Sergil and Alec have spent the past 2 years in self-imposed exile, far from their adopted homeland Scala and the bitter memories there. But as the war rages on, their time of peace is shattered by a desperate summons from Queen Idrilian, asking them to aid their daughter on a mission to Oranin, the very land from which Sergil was exiled in his youth. Here in this fabled realm of magic and honor, he must at last confront the demons of his dark past, even as Alec discovers an unimaginable heritage. And caught between Scala's desperate need and the ancient intrigues of the Orin Fair, they soon find themselves snared in a growing web of treachery and betrayal. So, and there's the nice cover. So these books, they're pretty short in my opinion. They're a quick and easy read, and they're very entertaining. So I really recommend them. Lastly, I'm sure you've heard of this series, even if you haven't gone around to reading them. Maybe you even watched the show, as it's very popular. But we have here, all together, it's a little heavy, so here we go. We have the Song of Ice and Fire series, the story so far. And there are currently 5 books out. Now you see 6 books here. And that's just because I'm going to set this down if you don't mind. You can see it okay, so it's easier to hold. So this is them right here. And the reason why you see 6 books is because the 3rd book, which is A Storm of Swords, is very lengthy. So because of that, they split it into 2 books for easier reading. And here I have the paperbacks, the soft covers. And these are really convenient, just because they are such hefty books. You do want to bring them with you and read them on the go. You're going to find that they can be a bit heavy and bulky, even in their paperback form. They are pretty big, so we got it in this nice box set. It includes, and also what I like about this is because he split the books into 2 parts for the 3rd book, right here. You're going to find that it is, they have different little sub-names. So, let me read them to you. This includes the 1st book, Game of Thrones, which is also the name of the TV series. The 2nd book, The Clash of Kings. The 3rd book, A Storm of Swords, Part 1, Steel and Snow. And then A Storm of Swords, Part 2, Blood and Gold. The 4th book, which is my favorite book, A Feast for Crows. And the 5th final book that is released to date, A Dance with Dragons. And as us avid book readers patiently wait while George R. R. Martin plays with the show, and don't get me wrong, I do think the show's lovely, but as an avid reader, I wish he would spend less time on the show and get to finishing writing that 6th book. And the 6th book will be titled Winds of Winter. And then the final 7th book is rumored to be called A Hope for Spring. So, yes, all of us book readers can only hope that he'll eventually finish that 6th book. But he likes to make us wait. And for, for you, I think you mentioned, you've seen the show? Well, I definitely recommend the books then. I hate to be one of those people, but the books are better. The books are always better. And while the 1st book of Game of Thrones stays pretty true to the show, once we get to the 2nd season of the show, which is the 2nd book of Clash of Kings, a lot of things change where I've noticed in the show, I don't want to give away any spoilers, so I'll be careful about that for the books or for the show. But once you get to the current season, which is the 4th season, and the 3rd season as well, there's a lot of choices that are made that really change the essence of certain characters, which will make their actions later, it'll seem like they have different motives. That's all I'll say. I don't want to give anything away, but some of that stuff's hard to deal with. But otherwise, the show is great. It's a lot of fun, but these books are really incredible. And yes, if you think the show is confusing, the books can be even more confusing. He likes to introduce a lot of new characters in every book. But in the back of the books, there's a really handy glossary that's going to help you out. There's also maps in the front of the book, which you can also use. But I really like the books. And if you do watch the show, right now it's the 2nd part of the book, the 3rd book. Because the 3rd book's so long, they split it into 2 seasons. So season 4 is really about this. Season 5 will probably have Feast of Crows. But what's interesting about A Feast of Crows and A Dance with Dragons is that originally this was supposed to be 1 book. And as you can see, it would have been way too massive. So when you read A Feast for Crows, you'll read about a lot of characters and their development and what's going on with them. But you'll be left wondering at the end of the book, where's Jon Snow, where's Dany, where's a lot of characters that aren't in this book. And you're going to find those characters in this book. These books go on the exact same timeline, they just explore different characters. So it's kind of an interesting tidbit. It makes me wonder how he'll do the TV show. I imagine that when he gets to the 5th season, it'll probably be a mix of these 2 books, rather than having an entire season about one set of characters and the next one in the same timeline. That's just my guess, though. But anyway, these are quite nice, aren't they? So I'm going to put these away. So what do you think? Do you want to check out any books today? Do you? Okay, which one would you like to start with? I understand the other series are a bit daunting, but the Nightrunner series is great. It's definitely a quick read, so great. You want to check out all 3 books? Of course you can do that. You can check up to 10 books and 5 DVDs at a time. So you're totally fine. All 3 books do have a month due date, but you seem like you're a quick reader like me, so I imagine that you will have no problem finishing them in time. Great. Okay, so we're just going to scan those books for you. Trader's Moon. And do you have your library card? Oh, you don't? Okay, you know what? Let's rewind a second then. I'm just going to pull up my computer real quick. Great. Okay. So, yeah, we'll set you up with a library card right now. Let me just make sure we have some on file. We do. So I'm just going to start with a form of ID. Do you have one on you? Okay, great. Yeah, I'll grab that for you. Great. And is this address current? It's not? It's no problem. We're just going to take your information, okay? So just give me one moment. Just, my mouse isn't on. There we go. Okay. Great. Okay, can I have your first and last name? Can I have your email address? Okay. Perfect. Okay. One moment, please. Okay. Can you give me your home address, your current address? Okay, perfect. And just a telephone number, please. Okay, great. Yeah, we almost have everything all set up. Let me just, gotta type up some information. Okay. Well, looks like we're all set up. So, here is your new library card. And just remember your phone number, obviously. Hopefully you would. If you lose your card, just let us know. There's no charge for a new card. Just be careful with that. But if you give us your phone number and your information, we'll be able to get a new card sent out to you, the address you've listed. Okay, so let me just scan. Okay, your card is good to go. And let's scan the books. So let me see where I put them. Okay. The last one. Okay, great. Here are your books. I'll just slide that forward for you. There you go. You got it. Great. So, is there anything else we can do for you today? Okay. Yes, we will place when we do the Game of Thrones series on hold. That's no problem. Well, it's actually called A Song of Ice and Fire, but I understand a lot of people call it Game of Thrones because of the show. And how about the Harry Potter books? Next time you come in? Okay. I really promise they are a very good read. Okay, those are on hold for you, so you are all set to go. This is due a month from today, all 3 books, but if you'd like to renew, you can either give us a call, or if you go online and enter your library card number in our system, you'll find your account there, and you can renew the books online. You can only renew them once, and they'll be renewed for another month's time. And if you are late, it's a 5 cents a day charge, okay? Well, thank you so much for coming into our library today. It's very nice to meet you, and I hope you come back soon. Bye.